Get ready, Power Gamers. This is episode 3 of The Legends of Lyria. I'm DJ the DM.
I'm Emily, I play Wyndham.
I'm Lily, I play Lothario.
I'm Taz, and I play Double T Tanya.
I'm Matt. I'm going to be playing Edward Bojangles Flint.
I love it, and we are here to bring you the next edition in our campaign. Let's see here. We last left off with you guys making your way back to the lair of the Rat King in order to give him a full report on what you guys had found once you had ventured out to that mysterious and suspicious ship. As you recall, you had seen some pretty horrifying things. Now, you elected not to go into the bottom 2 or however many layers of that ship. After going below the first deck, the horrors that you started seeing made you decide to leave. A sudden humming made you really want to get out. And while you did find Stabby Steve, he ran deeper under decks. You weren't keen to follow. So with that, you guys abandoned the ship, made your way back here. Double T Tanya is coated in blood still from the vivisection that she so expertly did on one of the poor unfortunates that you murdered on that ship. But that's about it. Lothario, you are fully healed after the incredible mauling that you took from those strangely violent beings, and you all make your way back here. What happens?
Well, I think we definitely need to go report back here at the Rat King about what we found on the ship.
Yeah, we need to tell him what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, you guys make your way there. You find your way back to the tunnels that lie underneath that old warehouse. And it doesn't take you long. There are sentries that look and watch the entrances to that tunnel, and they see you as you come in.
Yeah.
They welcome you. They know you. And once you make your way there, you find that the Rat King is awaiting your return. He seems to be frustrated or perhaps anxious. What do you do?
Oh, guess it's time to start telling.
What do you guys say?
Well, we found a ship that is not like any of the other ships. Oh, Rat King.
Really? Well, I'll admit that's about what I was hoping for a ship filled with strange valuables. A ship unlike any other. It sounds like that's what you found.
Yeah.
You've never been a good liar, Double T.
I'm not lying. This is a ship that's unlike any other ship. I don't think it's filled with valuables. I think it's filled with like bad, nasty things.
They're like not human things.
Yeah, they're definitely not human. They have no mind.
What?
It seems like something's controlling them. I don't know. Like, I tried to read one of their minds and it just went so bad.
You have the ability to read minds now.
I've always had it.
Well, you didn't when I knew you. Interesting.
You never asked.
Oh, that is very convenient. I'm going to have to look into that. Well, thank you for telling me.
Oh, you're so welcome.
And the rest of you. She says there was a bunch of mindless people who weren't human on this ship. What do you say?
Those things were definitely not human. Like, there was something wrong about them.
We also found Steve.
You see first his eyes narrow at Wyndham as she speaks and describes something not right about them. And as Bojangles speaks up, his eyes widen. What? And where is he now?
He's on the ship. He couldn't leave.
He didn't want to leave.
What do you mean he couldn't leave? Why was he on the ship?
He said he got captured.
You're joking.
No, he said he got captured, woke up on the ship, and he got super sick like all these other people on the ship too.
Wait, you're saying this has something to do with the disease that's been going around?
Yeah, it does, apparently.
I know you have many skills and talents, such as mind reading. I did not know you were skilled in the healing ways. How do you know this? You have any proof? Something I can present to the people?
Well, I would not consider myself a medical professional. I say that these two other people are like pushing the two girls in front of me are like better at the medicine and the healers than I am.
What?
What? I can use potions.
Yeah, tell them what you guys found about all the sick people.
Please do.
Well,
Well,
One at a time. Lethiriel, the noble. What did you see?
Cat's got her tongue.
I see she's shocked by her own fear. Well then, what did you see?
well, nothing I did seemed to affect them at all, and they seemed kind of not all there.
Yes,
they were
and?
Under
You've
something.
said this. You've said this. Is there any sort of proof that you have?
Well, Double T, you did hack that guy open.
Way to go. Thanks for ruining that.
His eyes widen as he looks towards Double T. Oh, you decided to get a little messy. It's good to see you back in old form. What did you find?
I pull out the weird worm thing.
So-
I found this in his neck.
You pull it out, and it's still wrapped in that holy cloth that you have, that sanctified cloth. Do you unwrap it?
No.
So you pull out a cloth.
Just like, be very careful with this. I found it in this dude's neck, and he was like one of the sick people. So, like, be very careful that it does not get into you.
And it's a worm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it looks like a worm.
He takes a hold of the cloth and sets it on the ground. He motions over to one of the others nearby. You recognize him. He's the one who was able to wave his hand and cast prestidigitation in order to heat the metal for your brands. The Rat King steps back as he crosses both of his arms behind his back, watching. That scrawny man begins waving his hand, and you see a very faint purple ethereal hand begin floating in the air about 30 feet away from him. The hand reaches down, attached to nothing as it floats in the air, the spell Mage Hand. He uses it to start opening the cloth. As he does, what you see appears to be this strangely shriveled worm laying in there like a giant leech, really. It's pretty thick, but at the moment it's fairly desiccated. It's lost a lot of its moisture, and the cloth itself is covered in blood and a strange sort of purplish, slimy residue. Now that you all have a moment, I want you to make some checks. You can make them on whatever you'd like. This is probably the first time you've had to breathe since everything happened last night. You can make some checks on this worm in front of you. You can make some checks on the people that you saw, or the ship you saw, or the things you noticed, diseases, anything you'd like. You have a moment to think as this thing lays out in front of you. What do you guys focus on?
I want to do a religion check, see if like any of this comes up in any religion that I've studied.
Ah, okay. Oh my gosh. If you get a natural 20, I don't know what I'm going to do. But
That'll be
Jesus.
hilarious if I
It
do.
would be, yeah. I hope you get like a natural 1 or something.
Oh no, I got a 13.
A 13. You're a pretty good cleric. You're very studious, but you've not heard of anything worm-related in a religion. The closest thing that you've heard of are the worms of Chris, Kryss. Those are certainly evil, but they usually feel unholy. They have this unholy evil aura about them. This thing,
Well, I can't
doesn't.
sense auras yet.
Well, even if you could, you'd be able to feel at least a little bit uneasy around this thing. But while you certainly feel uneasy, it doesn't seem to radiate any sort of evil aura, as though it was not unholy.
Still, it's an evil worm.
Indeed, very evil worm.
A very evil worm.
I'm gonna look around in the Rat King's lair at the other people around here. Look for anybody that's showing the same symptoms as what we saw on the boat.
Ooh, now that's an interesting check to make. All right, so go ahead and make for me. Let's have it be a perception check first, and then I'm going to have you make a medicine check. You too, well done. Yeah, you're able to see quite well. You're used to trying to find things hidden in the darkness, and as you look around, you can tell that there's probably about 10 or so of the rat pack scattered throughout this long sewer corridor, you notice, ooh, the 19 on medicine.
Nice. Good
It's
rolls today.
difficult. Yeah, it's difficult to say in the dim lighting like it is, but as you look around, you don't see anybody who seems to be sick, shaking, shuddering, convulsing.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's pretty lucky.
But nobody has that yellow skin like we saw, or
You don't see anyone with yellow skin, any jaundice,
okay.
nothing like that. However, you do notice that someone who you maybe perhaps expected to see here is not here. You remember that when you guys came here seeking the Rat King's help, Wyndham came with her friend, a fellow druid who had been struck with whatever strange illness this was. She gave her to the Rat King in order to be healed in exchange for service. She's not here.
I'm
just
going to
gonna-
go kind of whisper in Wyndham's ear and let her know that I don't see her around here.
Oh, and then since you got over a 20 on your perception, the other thing that you realize is the last time you were here, there were probably about 15 to 16 of the Rat Pack down here. They are missing about a third of the people that were down here before.
Yeah, I was just gonna roll perception to see if I could find her anywhere.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and roll for it. Ooh, a 15, not bad. All right, you look around. You remember where you left her with him, but she's not there. You don't see any trace of her. Go ahead and make for me an investigation check. You notice on the ground what appears to be a trail. It is blood. It's very faint, but it seems to go off down the tunnel that you guys had traversed previously to go into Highgarden. But the trail is so weak, it's gone even within your own eyesight.
I'm gonna let everybody know about the trail, or what of it I saw at least.
Are you guys just whispering to each other in this tunnel, or are you guys... How are you communicating?
I'm gonna
Oh,
have
we
to
can
whisper-
communicate telepathically, actually.
I love that.
Oh, that's so broken. I love it.
Alright, so I'm gonna think real hard at everybody.
You just think real hard at me, and I'll think real hard at everybody else.
Even better, I'm
Wow.
gonna think real hard at Double T.
You guys use your level 1 encrypted communication to telepathically communicate with each other in a way that the Rat King and all of the Rat Pack cannot spy on. Well done. So what do you say? You can talk to each other freely.
So remember my friend that isn't here? Well, there seems to be an old blood trail leading where we left last time, and I'm kind of concerned about that.
Also, it seems like there's about a third of the people missing that were here last time we were here.
Also, it seems like it can't speak.
These are very strange tunnels, guys.
And then Lily, is there anything that you want to do? Any check you want to make?
Can I do a history check on the worm?
Yes, go for it. All right, we'll use the top one. Wow, a total of 20 on history. Okay, so you happen to be a very cultured Gulnari noble. Now, you're not just from this tiny little trade port. In fact, your family has knowledge and resources that come from all over the world. You're more familiar with this land and the lands nearby, and so what you know is this. There is an area, you can call it the Wastes, call it no man's land. It is the realm where monsters dwell. No ship that goes that way is likely to return. This has got to be something from there. The realm of monsters. You think about it. The only thing you can imagine is that this came from some horror in that realm. You're not sure what it is. You've never heard of anything like it in history, but all of the worst plagues, monster invasions, horrific world events that aren't caused by humans and elves and sentient races, they come from the wastes.
Interesting. I wonder if we can figure out if there's a ship that came from the wastes recently.
Well, you remember that the ship that you saw was a coalition of guild ship, a cog ship, a trading vessel. However, what you noticed was that on it there appeared to be some people who were representing different coalition of guilds, but then also a mixed match of strange people who seem to have no particular um, branding one way or the other, and then even Stabby Steve. And there was no record of where it was going, where it was coming from. That certainly could be an explanation.
Guys, have you heard of the wastes?
Do I remember the waste from stories from Papa Stormbreaker?
Oh yeah, the wastes are where all of the monsters, the dragons that he fought in epic tales of old, that's where they came from. That's where he drove them back to.
Oh yeah, I start relaying all of most of his stories telepathically. I'm like, oh yeah, Papa Stormbreaker knows all about that. He rescued all these damsels in distress in the waste, which I don't realize. Why are there so many damsels there? Do they just walk there? I don't know.
Who's Papa Stormbreaker?
Oh, he's this old guy who takes care of me at the church. He's a super cool dude. He taught me how to read the stars. And he's a storm lord, and I want to be a storm lord just like him.
Well, maybe he knows what this worm is. Maybe he's seen it on his adventures.
He might.
Or maybe the waste is just stories and this is just another animal trying to eat humans.
Could be that too.
That's also a possibility.
As you guys are thinking this, or rather communicating your thoughts very efficiently like this, the Rat King, you can tell, is closely inspecting that strange worm on the ground. After about 10 seconds of looking at it, you see him raise a hand and snap a finger. At the snap of that finger, you see a rather large rat emerge from the shadows somewhere down in the tunnels of the sewer. It comes over with an unnatural speed. It does not stop at anything. It goes directly to the worm. You guys see this rat begin sniffing at it, and finally, it bites into the worm. It's a strange moment. It doesn't seem to do anything, and it's kind of gross to watch as this mixture of blood and purple goo begins spilling from it and begins shaking around as the rat whips it back and forth. After a moment, though, the rat drops it. It starts shaking, and it stays in place as it shakes and it starts twitching. What do you guys do?
Stare at it.
Yeah, just flabbergasted.
I want to use speak to animal to ask it what's going on.
Okay, so I believe that spell has verbal or somatic components. Is that correct? If you started casting, basically, you'd have to start waving your arms around and speaking magic words. Is that true?
Yes, it has verbal and somatic components.
Okay, thank you. So as you would start casting, you know that everyone around you would see you and would God knows what they'll do in reaction, but this is something obviously the Rat King is willing to happen. If you want to start casting a Speak with Animals spell, that's up to you. Do you go through with it? But everyone will know.
I'm gonna ask first.
Okay, what do you say?
I'd be like, hey, can I ask that rat if he's okay?
You see the Rat King narrow his eyes at you and then kind of smile for a brief moment. You're welcome to try. And I can assure you, if anything that you said is true, it probably isn't.
I'm gonna second guess that because I don't want to hear it screaming.
Yeah, that's fair. When Double T connected her mind to one of those individuals on the mysterious ship, it pretty well incapacitated her. So
I say go for it.
So your call, going for it, not going for it?
I'm gonna rethink that and not go for it.
Okay, you see this rat twitching and spasming, and you decide, I don't want to experience what Double T Tanya did. I'm going to pass on that. Hard pass.
Pretty much.
And so you all watch as this strange little rat that the Rat King summoned bit into this worm that you brought, shook it a bunch, and then froze and started twitching. It continues to do so.
I'm going to pull out my hand crossbow and just kind of keep it ready in case that rat tries to jump at someone and attack them.
Okay. You pull out your hand crossbow and you notice that as you do, the Rat King doesn't move. He doesn't react to you. But everyone in the Rat Pack does when you take out a crossbow. They take out weapons and start moving towards you. But you notice very quickly that the Rat King's inaction prompts them to not do anything. But you can tell they're definitely on edge. More so by you pulling out the crossbow than by a rat biting a worm.
Yeah, well, these people weren't on a boat.
That's true. They didn't see what you saw.
It's a Tuesday for them.
I'm a little bit more concerned about this worm and rat right now than a gang of people.
That's fair. Well, it stays there, twitching. And again, you see the Rat King's hand does not move. As though you look at it, you realize he must be maintaining some sort of effect or some sort of control or something. You're not sure. But there was no casting motion. He didn't speak any magic words. He did snap. So that's a thing. But it's hard to say. After a moment, the rat starts shaking much more violently. Its eyes roll back in its head and it begins bleeding from its eyes, nose, ears, and mouth. It begins every now and again throwing up. And then eventually, its legs give out and it falls to the ground. It continues convulsing, but you can tell there's nothing behind it. What do you guys do?
I mean, I guess now that the rat's kind of stopped and not freaking out, I'm going to relax a little bit, but not drop my gun, or my crossbow, I should say.
Okay. Anybody else?
Just gonna ready my sickle also, just in case.
Good call. Yeah, you take it out ready. You normally wouldn't raise your own weapons against nature, but whatever's happening here is not natural. That's not the natural behavior of a rat. That's not the natural progression of eating a worm. That's not what happens to you. Something here is wrong. So you're ready to fight. Anybody else?
No, I'm good where I'm at.
I'm still staring in dismay, imagining that people, especially my caretaker Varus, could be going through all of these effects the same way.
That's true. As you think about it, you realize that this is likely the same thing that's happening to Varus. And the more you think about that thought, the more uneasy and shocking the image before you it becomes. As you watch this, the rat just stays on the ground, convulsing, with its eyes rolled into the back of its head for some time. Eventually, the Rat King lowers his arm, and the rat just continues to convulse. Doesn't seem that it's capable of doing anything else. Looks to you and says, while I eagerly await the results of my little experiment here, I fear we must move forward. Things have progressed in your absence.
So that was you controlling the rat?
You could say we have an agreement. Well done, Power Gamer. You've safely made it to the end of the video. Congratulations. Thanks for hanging out with us, and a very special thank you to our supporters on Patreon. Thank you to our Patreon founders, whose incredible generosity humbles us. Thank you to the legends, guild members, and all of the official Power Gamers whose love and support makes this channel possible. If you like what you saw, let us know by leaving a like, comment, subscription, donation, sharing the video with your friends. Check out all the links below, and we'll see you Saturday on Twitch for the next Legends of Lyria.